not come up off a good man.
Welcome to the show. I know y'all want some more of that content. Alright, tonight we got a video via TikTok. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. This is one of the more interesting videos I've seen in a while. Let's check it out.
Deeply insecure people are extremely problematic, and I believe the problem lies in the fact that they make people responsible for the way that they feel. They try to get partners that will cover their insecurities. There's this belief that deeply insecure people will present as these weak individuals. People are forgetting that we're human, and a lot of humans try to cover their insecurities through this false confidence. It's not always a conscious thing, but this false sense of confidence, view of self, all turn out to be means to control another person, a way to control your insecurity through the person you're connecting with. And that's where we enter the realms of narcissism and narcissistic traits. Grandiosity seems to be the only way that people understand narcissism, when entitlement really is the deciding factor. And entitlement doesn't just show up as reward without effort. It also shows up as somebody believing that everybody around them should be responsible for them. A huge indicator of a deeply entitled person is somebody that believes they can make impulsive decisions, and the consequence for their decisions is that the people around them will support them. There's also the fact that deeply insecure people and very narcissistic people manage the people in their life through evoking guilt. Guilt is also where power dynamics are created, dominance is instated, and manipulation is a tool that's a means to an end. So if somebody can make you feel guilty, then they can make you feel bad. And if you feel bad, then they can feel good. And when they feel good, then they can make you do what they want. And that's where entitlement starts to play out in these subtle ways. That's where empathy gets exploited, because you might think you're trying to connect with this person and understand them, but what's actually going on is they're manipulating you in order for you to be in a position where they can take advantage of you. And the distinction lies in the person's capabilities to work on themselves. Somebody being vulnerable with you or sharing their traumas with no intent to change or taking no steps to make their situation better is not a victim. That person is a predator. And
By no means should you ever be taking responsibility for somebody else's insecurities in a relationship. By no means. Everything this man is saying on this TikTok, and I'm gonna leave his link in the description, I went through with my ex. Yes, I did. I went through every last thing that he's saying about insecure people. I went through that. Yes, I did.
The only reason they're telling you these stories is so that they can exploit you, is so that they can evoke guilt, so that you can be responsible for them. They feel like you should be entitled to take care of them. The purpose is to manipulate you into a state where they don't have to tell you what to do. You're just going to know what to do because they're entitled to you. They made you submit to their will, which allows them to have this perceived grandiosity, which allows them to feel like they can treat you in any way that they want. This is how they start the enmeshment, which allows them to create this codependent relationship with you where they take away your autonomy. This all happens so subtle that you don't realize you're losing your autonomy. And this is all due to love bombing. This person is constantly rewarding you for treating them well, so you're not realizing that they're not actually putting in any effort to change their own situation. So it eventually gets to a point where you're completely responsible for this person, not realizing that they're just taking advantage of you. This all happens so covertly that by the time you understand that you're actually being taken advantage of, you look like the insecure person in the situation. And the power dynamic that's now in place is that the insecure person now looks like they're the confident one, and you look like the person that needs support. You're now trained to be that person's safety, while your safety is up for debate. So here's an example of how that could play out. Let's say somebody comes to you and they say, "Oh, my ex used to make me spend all this money on them, and now I have no money." Your first instinct is going to be that you want to provide for this person and you want to support them. So you're constantly giving, which is creating this dynamic.
Shit, my first instinct would be like, man, you better go get some. You better go get some. How was you getting money before you met me, you know?
Where they now feel like they're entitled to your money. You have no problem supporting this person because you love them. The problem is this person has no intention of changing their situation. They have no intention of supporting you in the future. So eventually their demands escalate and they're wanting you to give more. They're feeling more entitled to you giving them more because you love them. Let's say eventually you get into a financial pinch. The relationship is completely going to fall apart because now you've intervened with this person's lifestyle. Instead of being rewarded for holding this person down, you're now going to be punished for not being able to fund their lifestyle. Now they feel like they're broke because they can't uphold this lifestyle, which means they're going to start to tell everybody that they're struggling in life because of you. And this is where the grandiosity and entitlement really comes out, because now they feel like they're entitled to go find somebody better, to go find somebody with more money, because now you look like you're broke. They've already exploited you for what they needed you for. They made you responsible for their financial instability. You took on that responsibility, and now you're a victim of it. To the perception of the public, you do look like you're holding them back. They don't know that you're supporting this person. So when they do make these moves to find a new person that can supply them with the lifestyle that they want, they're going to look completely justified. And that's essentially how they manipulate people into being responsible for their financial insecurity. And you can take any other insecurity and do the same thing. So to understand if somebody is exploiting you and trying to make you responsible for their insecurities, you first have to gauge how willing that person is to work on themselves.
Oh, man. It ain't really much you can say. This is spot on. He said exactly what it really is, what really goes on in a deeply insecure person. And it's nothing else to say. He said, and you can insert any said insecurity until at the end. Well, he said you can insert anything in there. Finances, you can insert anything. You should never take responsibility for somebody else's life, their insecurities, their money, how they feel about themselves, self-esteem. You never take responsibility for somebody else's life, man. If that's one thing I learned about my ex, because she was just like this. She tried, boy. She tried to get me to take responsibility for everything she did. It was my fault. It got so toxic, man, I had to get out of there. I had to leave. I'm not responsible for how you feel about yourself. Your parents were responsible for uplifting you and giving you high self-esteem when you were younger. Now that you're older, trauma bonding with people is useless if you're not trying to change. So now she in a whole nother relationship, just like she always do. Monkey bond, going from person to person, leeching on to them.